I had no idea the British press was so bigoted.
This One's Wife. With Love, Meghan. Season 1, Part 2, What to Expect. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. This One's Wife's trailer has appeared for what is Part 2 of Season 1. I refuse to label it as Season 2. You probably have watched it. I did. It was just over a minute in length and was just about bearable. I'm not proposing to watch Part 2 of Season 1. I did watch a couple of episodes for the purposes of commenting on it vis-a-vis her narcissism for you valuable viewers, and I certainly have the intestinal fortitude to see my way all the way through it. However, I got much better things to do with my time than be bored rigid by this One's Wife inane witterings, and therefore I gave up after 2 episodes, and it turned out to be a sound choice because the other episodes just replicated the bollocks that was seen in the first 2. But what can we expect from this? Well, you don't need to watch this series because, as a consequence of your glorious narrator, I've taken my crystal ball off the shelf. Shelf's looking rather crowded these days with exes and affair partners, etc. But I managed to find amongst all of the people the crystal ball, gave it a dust down, and have had a look in it in order to tell you what you can expect from this forthcoming series, which I understand will be aired in September. First of all, who's going to be in it? Well, prepare to be blown away by this litany of legends, this list of titans of industry and entertainment. You ought to be sitting down as I reel off the individuals that are involved. First off, we get celebrity bully Chrissy Teigen, and I may make an exception and watch the episode that she's in, purely because then I can kill 2 birds with 1 stone, oh if only, in respect of reporting on the behaviours of both of them. So we have got celebrity satellite dish and general moon-faced molester of young people, Chrissy Teigen to have on the show. What a brilliant choice from the self-appointed defender of young people online. Yes, as you know, and I've reported in parts passing, the bullying narcissist that is Chrissy Teigen has spent her time in the past encouraging a young person to take a dirt nap and making very strange comments about young children, which, if anybody else had made them, the feds would be kicking the door in and putting her in handcuffs. And yet this One's Wife, who holds herself out as defender of the weak and downtrodden, and an individual that is there to shield people from the excesses of the internet, chooses such a disgusting human being to be on her show. It tells you everything you need to know about the moral compass of this One's Wife. We've got somebody called Tan France. No, me neither. Apparently, having looked this individual up, he's a British-American fashion designer, and apparently is the fashion expert for Queer Eye. It's little wonder that I've never heard of him. There's a list of chefs, people such as Jose Andres, David Chang, Samin Nosrat, Christina Tosi, and Claire Smythe. I don't know any of those names, but I'm sure that they're very capable individuals, and no doubt are now questioning why on earth they went near this clusterfuck. There's somebody called Jay Shetty, who is a British Indian author podcaster. I had heard this name, but I couldn't think of why I knew it. And then it struck me. He's a former monk, and presumably, after his appearance, he will find that he's actually become Jay Shitty, and this One's Wife invited him on because as a former monk, she probably thought that he'd got balls like watermelons, and there was something that could be exploited there. There's somebody called Radhi Devlukia. No idea who that is. Apparently she's a YouTuber. Right, okay. In actual fact, it's Jay Shetty's wife. So we know why she's involved. Heather Durack makes another appearance. Yep, can you hear that noise? It's the sound of a barrel being scraped. Crying makeup man's back on again. Really desperate times. And it's Jamie Three Names. Yes, the high as a kite, awful podcaster appears although she isn't included in the trailer. Presumably this is a consequence of not wanting to frighten people before anything has appeared, and not to cause people to remember too much about that god-awful podcast that the pair of cretins appeared upon. What a lineup! Whoopie fucking do, you may say. Quite simply, looking into the crystal ball, what are we going to get? Well, you know, it's a load of performative nonsense. This one's wife's going to turn up in her fake house, talk fridge magnet platitudes, talk about herself, will generally move food around on a plate, things will be taken out of packets, put into other packets, fruit will be cut, charcuterie boards will be shown, things will be removed from the oven, but we won't actually see her doing any cooking because she can't cook. You know, because she's a narcissist, it's all about her. It's just going to be a rerun of what you saw first time around. You could perhaps, if you can be bothered to watch it, you can play, has she learned to hold a knife properly? Answer, no. What other cooking and baking boo-boos are you able to spot? We know that she's going to come out with nonsense observations. For instance, already in the voiceover she says, let's get creative and learn something new. Well, that'll be a first, seeing as all of your ideas are pinched from other people. And Tegan states, I could do this every day. Really, what's that? Receive alien communications from afar? Say nasty things about children online? It's not really clear. Harry, I doubt he'll appear in it, although he does get a mention. Apparently, this one's wife in the trailer tells us, you know who doesn't like lobster? My husband. And then Chef Andre says, and you married him anyway? Oh, how amusing. Yes, Harry still doesn't get mentioned by his name. He's objectified as my husband. You are going to find out that this will have a shit ton of joy in it. Joy, joy, joy. Joy is going to be plastered everywhere. That is going to look like the aftermath of a bukkake party. Absolutely everything is going to be infused with joy, spattered with joy, poured with joy, cooked with joy. If Joy were a person, she'd be fucking exhausted because she's going to be overused in this awful, awful show. We will see this one's wife smiling to herself. We'll also see her laughing to herself. There'll be no context for doing so other than the fact that she's very pleased with herself. We're probably likely to have episodes such as how to peel a banana or eggs. Where do they come from? There'll be lots of loose hair. Interestingly, in the trailer, she's got it tied back. That's not going to last. It's going to be straggling down and getting in the way. Undoubtedly, there'll be some day drinking. We'll probably see Jamie Three Names off her tits on some kind of substance and sat there going, yes, to this one's wife. There'll be approximately 623 verifiable lies spouted by this one's wife. And overall, it'll just be another beige fest. It'll be a concoction of things that you've seen before. You might be tempted to watch it because you'll do so by way of a grudge watch or because you want to see just how awful it is and how it hasn't improved from the first half. Well, you're perfectly entitled to choose to do so. But what you're going to witness is this one's wife being a narcissist because she can't help herself. That's what she is, which means it has to be all about her, that she will spout nonsense because she thinks that she's providing you with pithy, witty observations about cooking and baking in the world at large. She will engage in activities in the fake house, demonstrating that she doesn't really know what she's doing. She will talk to the guests occasionally. She will issue a put down towards them. She will act like they're her complete best friends. I mean, seriously, when you look at that guest list, it's not exactly A-list, is it? It's not even B-list. You've got a Fashon guy who's probably going to mince around the kitchen, an author and podcaster and former monk with his wife, Heather Dirac, who's just hanging around because she's a friend, probably just leaning off the end of the island as she downs her 7th gin and tonic of the morning, crying makeup man. I mean, really, after the way he goes on and how pathetic he looks, I suspect he hasn't actually left from the first episode that he was in. I suspect what actually happened was that he stayed at this one's wife's house, and she basically ensured that he couldn't get out by bulldozing mounds of potpourri shit that she created outside of the door. So poor Baldy was going, let me out, and he couldn't get out because of the potpourri. And she just occasionally shoved an as-ever cookie and a crepe under the door to give him sustenance until she allowed him to come out to be in this extra episode. Probably he'll start crying as a consequence of the fact that he's got post-traumatic stress disorder arising from his kidnap situation with this one's wife. Imagine bringing along Jamie Three Names. I mean, again, it demonstrates how this woman never, ever considers feedback because she's always right. If you had an iota of sense, you would realise that that podcast was so utterly awful that you wouldn't go near Jamie Three Names again. But the fact is, this one's wife is so desperate for people to appear with her, so in need of anybody, just anybody. She almost started dragging homeless people off the streets of Los Angeles and ferrying them in, hosing them down in the garden and saying, that'll do, in you go, don't touch me, don't look at me, don't speak to me, but at least can you use a cookie cutter? This is the shite that's coming your way, and it'll just be the narcissist being the narcissist, making it all about her being self-absorbed, talking nonsense, and there you are. I've summarised it all, you now don't need to watch it. I'm H.G. Tudor, thank you for listening.